Another day, another about-face from the White House. Today, responding to the avalanche of outrage over President Trump considering the request from President Vladimir Putin for Russian interrogators to question a list of Americans, including former ambassador to Moscow, Michael McFaul. It is a proposal that was made in sincerity by President Putin, Press Secretary Sarah Sanders said in a statement, but President Trump disagrees with it.
That's not going to happen.
Secretary of State Mike Pompeo today also ruling out giving Russia access to McFaul and the others.
And with respect to the particular question, the administration is not going to force Americans to travel to Russia to be interrogated by Vladimir Putin and his team.
Putin's proposal, made in his one-on-one meeting with Trump in Helsinki, was to allow Robert Mueller's team to interview the 12 Russians indicted for cyber attacks in the 2016 election. In exchange, Russian investigators would get to question McFaul and 11 others for crimes Russia accuses them of. A deal that Trump at first found intriguing.
And what he did is an incredible offer. He offered to have the people working on the case come and work with their investigators with respect to the 12 people. I think that's an incredible offer.
The White House saying Wednesday it was being considered.
There was some conversation about it, but there wasn't a commitment made on behalf of the United States, and the president will work with his team, and we'll let you know if there's an announcement on that front.
McFaul, at the center of the firestorm, was stunned.
My government, I hope, will step up today and categorically swat this back. And when I mean my government, I mean my president of the United States of America.
Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle angry the proposal was even being discussed.
The concept of letting American citizens being investigated for crimes that are just, I think, are jokes is absurd. And I don't believe there's one member, I challenge you to find one member of the House and the Senate that believes this is a good idea.
No president should have the power to gift wrap American citizens, let alone former ambassadors, to our known adversaries.
Jay, Congress, as you heard right there, found this proposal so outrageous that just moments ago, the Senate voted 98-0 against making current and former officials available for interrogation by the Russians. Ambassador McFaul has thanked the Senate in a tweet saying that bipartisanship is not yet dead. But at the same time, he also took a swipe at the White House, which had called Putin's offer sincere, saying, "I don't consider it sincerity to falsely accuse U.S. government officials of being criminals." Jake.
All right, Alex Marquardt, thanks so much. What the hell is going on? Seriously, what the hell is going on? I mean, it's sincerity, sincere offer from Putin, and an incredible offer to. I'm looking at you to see you answer the question, not because you're defending it, but just what?
Yeah, no, look, I mean, that's kind of my reaction too. Obviously, what they're trying to do is send the message that they're serious about the 12 people who have been indicted, the 12 Russian government officials, that they want to do something about that, right? But in the process of trying to communicate that, somehow they've given validity to a proposal by Vladimir Putin that I don't know anyone who thinks that would be anywhere remotely acceptable to even have the conversation about. We don't send diplomats over to be interrogated for crimes.
That aren't even crimes. I mean, what's the crime?
Exactly,
Right,
just made up.
Invented it. Michael McFaul didn't commit any crimes.
Right.
This is one of the issues that Republicans and national security experts have with Donald Trump, and it used to be something that people said about the left, which is this moral equivalence.
Mm-hmm.
He thinks that the United States and Russia are on the same moral plane.
Well, and I don't know if that's the belief or not. I know that's, I'm more of a conspiracy theorist than you, Jake. So I'm going to go back to my word from the last segment, compromat. But I would also say that narcissism is blinding. Let's say that he's not compromised. I'm going to give you that. Perhaps. If he's not, then that means that he's so narcissistic that he can't even potentially accept the fact that, as has been proven at this point, Russia interfered with the U.S. election because they favored him. James Clapper talked about this, the fact that he just can't accept this idea. That is now causing great harm to our national security. It's causing great harm to, I believe, confidence in him, even from his party. I think that there are folks who have actually said they don't approve of the way the summit was handled. And what was said in the meeting? You're talking about what the hell happened
We have
behind
no
those
idea.
closed doors.
Michael, you work for George W. Bush. If Vladimir Putin had said to George W. Bush, we can work during that early time when Bush was trying to have a relationship with him, he looked into his soul and all that. If he had said, that's fine, we can work on this and such, But I need you to turn over Bill Clinton, the immediate previous president, Bill Clinton's previous ambassador, and these 11 individuals, and then we can talk. What would George W. Bush have said to that? And what would, I guess it was Ari Fleischer have said from the podium?
Well, they would have been gobsmacked. They would have fallen out of their chair. They wouldn't have known what to do. I mean, speaking of White House staff this week, I mean, wow, they must be exhausted. They have to wrestle all week to get the president back to the starting line. NATO is good. Russia is bad. And no, we aren't turning over American citizens for interrogation to the Russians. And so this is a lot of effort they have to expend to get back to the starting line.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. I mean, and you saw the State Department obviously come out and say this is absurd. You saw Pompeo speaking very strongly there. But Sarah Huckabee Sanders, again, the whole idea of the audience of one. She didn't want to get out ahead of the president because the president had said this was an incredible offer at some point. He said it, I think, a couple of times in that press conference. Seemed to be excited about the idea of it. Oh, this is a great idea to have the criminals as part of the criminal investigation. And this idea that you mentioned that somehow the Russian justice system, which doesn't really exist, is on par with the democratic justice system that we have. You think about Michael McFaul. This is a guy who got death threats, right? I mean, there are all sorts of salacious and terrible things that they spread about this guy while he was ambassador. Complete lies. And this idea, I mean, who would be next? Michael McFaul? Would Hillary Clinton be next on that list?
He would be real happy about that.
Oh, God, don't tempt the
president. Yeah, no, he's watching now. Thanks, Mia. Just got a new idea.
Thanks for the idea, Mia.
If the president wants to have a relationship with Russia, it needs to be on our terms, not on Putin's, not on these absurd things that he's putting forward. It's fine. It's in the president's call. He won the election. Let's have a normal bilateral relationship on nuclear arms and talk about Iran and North Korea and the rest. But no more of this stuff. And so we've got to get, hopefully, he's coming here in the fall. We'll see what the agenda is. It sounds like a duo.